Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Jessica Ward King, the Stigma Crusher here. I know it's been a while since I posted. I took a little well-needed hiatus, but we're back. And I'm back to bring you the news that apparently bipolar disorder doesn't have to be a lifelong struggle. This is from research out of the University of Toronto's Dalla Lana School of Public Health. They did a study with about 500 people diagnosed with bipolar disorder and several tens of thousands of people that were not diagnosed with any mental illness. And they determined several really interesting findings, and I wonder where they got them. So we're going to discuss kind of how it's important to read the news really carefully, to read research studies really carefully to find out where they're getting their samples, how they're measuring their outcomes, and not believe necessarily the hype. So here's the hype. Nearly 1 in 4 people with bipolar disorder wind up achieving complete mental health, researchers found. Furthermore, 2 in 5, almost half, become free from bipolar symptoms over time. So that's really great news, right? People with bipolar disorder can expect that they are going to be cured over time, that just time is going to cure them, to cure us. I read this study and I started to think to myself immediately, okay, where did they get these people? Where did their sample come from? And what are their measures of complete mental health? So what they were trying to focus on, I'm looking here at my phone because that's where I'm reading the study. They were trying to focus on optimal mental health and how people with bipolar disorder achieve that optimal mental health. And so they did come up with 24% of people once diagnosed with bipolar disorder had achieved such a state of complete mental health. To be considered having complete mental health, however, people had to be free from any mental illness, including bipolar disorder, depression, substance use disorder, any mental illness, during the past year. That's clutch, right? That's the catch. So if you were to catch me during a period of euthymia, so if you were to, if I were in this study and you were to catch me symptomatic, so having a depressive episode, a manic episode, a mixed episode, whatever, and then moving into euthymia, which I did last summer around this time. I went from being symptomatic for a very long time to euthymia, to normal mood, to feeling great. And then I kept that state. Now, I only kept that state that time for about 6 months. But I have kept that euthymic state for over a year in the past. If you caught me during that time, you would say I had complete mental health. Because bipolar disorder goes like a wave, right? And everybody's wave is different. Everybody with bipolar disorder has a different wave. But you will have the manic high for a little while and then often plummet to a depressive low and be in that depressive low for however long is typical for you. So for me right now, it's been about 8 months that I've been in this particular depressive low. I'm still in it. I'm as low as I've ever been, so we're expecting to stay in this for a while. But then I will eventually go up either to euthymia or all the way up to mania, back down, maybe to euthymia then, and so on and so forth. And so bipolar disorder is like that. So I spend a lot of time in depressions, a little bit of time in mania, some time in euthymia, but some people are more, they have mania, they go to normal mood. They stay there for a long time, they maybe go to depression for a bit, they go back up to normal mood, they stay there for a long time. And so for the people in this, so the 500 odd people in this study, that curve is going to look different, and you're going to expect many of them maybe even a quarter of them, to achieve that state of mental wellness for at least a year. That does not mean their bipolar disorder is cured. That means that in their cycle, they're in a state of relative wellness for at least a year. And then that further 2/5, they had to achieve like optimal wellness where they reported being happy and satisfied almost every day. Well, let me tell you, when you have experienced crushing depression and you have experienced life-shattering mania, feeling euthymic or normal mood, relatively well, is a good day every day, right? You learn to really appreciate what it is that you have or don't have. And so I find that for myself, I keep track of my moods in an app, in a mood diary. And I find for myself that when I'm in euthymic mood, I'm in great mood, right? Like, I'm not manic, but I'm in great mood. I'm like, yes, I'm not depressed. I'm not manic. I'm peachy keen. Fantastic. And so that's how I would record my mood if I were in this study. And so as I kind of read through this study and saw that, you know, what their sample looked like, and they had people with bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, and, you know, what their measures were, really for me it was the measures. I'm like, at least a year, my cycle can handle being euthymic for at least a year. And I'm sure a lot of people's cycles can handle that euthymia. But bipolar is, for most people, most studies have shown, a lifelong disorder. Even if it's treated and it's treated well, you can stay stable for quite some time, years and years, in fact, if you have a treatment that's working for you. But quite often, especially if those medications are removed because they have to be, you're taking another medication that interacts or whatever, and those medications are removed, symptoms may come back. You may find breakthrough symptoms on those medications, even if they're working for you, and you get like a period of mild depression or dysthymia. You can often get a period of depression or a period of mania, even if you've had medications that are working for you for a long time. Like it can just break through. If you're like me and you haven't found a medication cocktail that works for you for a long, long time, then these symptoms continue to recur. And even if you get like a year of optimal wellness, even 2 years of optimal wellness, it's probably not going to last that long. And so bipolar disorder is a chronic, seemingly lifelong disorder. Now, there are reports that bipolar disorder those symptoms tend to get milder or better with age. My psychiatrist keeps telling me this, I think, like as a carrot dangling in front of me as I struggle. And there are some reports that happens. Now, that doesn't happen for everybody. Just like everybody's cycle is different, everybody's lifelong cycle is also different. So there are some adults that are first diagnosed with bipolar disorder when they're in middle age or even older, and that their symptoms get worse, before they would ever get better. And for some people, their symptoms don't change as they get older. They just kind of remain the same badness, if you will. And for some, they do get better. So the disease is chronic, it seems, by most accounts, though you can get periods of wellness, and we cherish those periods of wellness. At the same time, during those periods of wellness, there is a terror, I guess, that, when are the symptoms going to come back? And as the period of wellness kind of progresses, you would think that you would get more comfortable and say, okay, we're in this, we're good, everything's working, we're solid. I don't know. For me, because of the way that my cycle has gone, I just get more and more nervous as time goes on. So I'd love to hear from you if you are also living with bipolar disorder. If you've been living well with bipolar disorder for a long time, because of treatment, because of lifestyle changes, because of diet, because of whatever it is that is working for you, does does the terror go away? Did you ever have the terror? Maybe you didn't. So that's what I wanted to reflect on this week, is that study from the Dalai Lama School of Public Health, University of Toronto. Very reputable institution, very reputable school of public health. The study is not bad. I find that the reporting and the press release are really the problem. So when you actually read the study, it's not bad. I mean, like, if that's how they're defining wellness and that's how they're defining like optimal mental health, and they measured those things in those people, and those are the numbers that they got, then what's really left is for somebody to replicate that study or not replicate that study, to see if those results hold up. So maybe it was just a lucky group of 500 people, or maybe there was some variation in the way it was measured, that if it's repeated in another way, we'll find that there are kind of conditions on this. So that's how science works. Is somebody reports something, they report something often unexpected, provocative, and it's up to other researchers to repeat the study, usually with a little tweak here or there, so that it's new findings, and repeat that study and see whether those results hold up. So I will be really interested to see what happens when there's a bit of a different definition of optimal wellness, or a bit of a different study population, perhaps those with only bipolar 1 or those with only bipolar 2, not a population study, so not comparing it against like 20,000 people without mental illness, whatever the variation is. I'll be interested to see whether these results hold up and what the explanation is, right? So whether this explanation that I've offered, my interpretation of how these results might work in real life, whether that interpretation is found to be correct, or whether there's another explanation for these findings, for why some people are saying bipolar disorder is chronic. The experience of some people with bipolar is that it's chronic, lifelong, and then there's this study saying actually it's not, actually you can be cured, or whether it's just the reporting. So I guess the takeaway here is, don't believe everything you hear at face value. Don't only read the first 2 paragraphs of a news story, because they may give you a very misleading explanation or non-explanation of whatever sensational findings they're trying to report on. Because of course, for a reporter, they're trying to hook you. They're trying to get you interested in the story, and saying something sensational gets you interested in wanting to read more. So definitely, if you see something that seems a little out of whack, read more. See what the measures are, see what the population is like, and wait for that replication of the study, because that's what science is absolutely built on, is those replications, those proofs and disproofs, and that's what incrementally moves science forward. Science doesn't move forward on aha eureka moments. Science moves forward on these incremental little steps where someone finds something and someone else builds on it. So I can't wait to see what comes next in terms of finding out, what the life course of bipolar disorder is. I would love to hear that, I'm going to be cured any moment. Right now, that seems absolutely out of the game, because I am struggling a little bit right now. But, when I'm euthymic, maybe I'll believe it. Who knows? So that's me for this week. Take care of yourselves. I hope you're having a great summer, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.
Stigma Crusher.